Good morning, all. I'm Joel Penhorwood for the Ohio AgNet. It's a pleasure to be coming at you today with your Facebook Live daily news update. First of all, thanks for joining us here. We're trying this new Facebook Live video stuff, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it, and we'll see what happens down the road. We'll try to take you to some different places as well. Now, with that being said, let's get into your latest agricultural news for Tuesday. The Fort Wayne Farm Show starting today. Ty Higgins will be there at the Fort Wayne Farm Show, so if you're there, go ahead and try to find him and say hello. Thanks to Fennig Equipment for today's sponsorship of our travels there, and Home and Equipment for tomorrow. In other news, U.S. beef exports to South Korea, they set a new value record in 2016 at $929.3 million. Now, that's without the December results. We're told that that number will break the $1 billion mark when year-end results are final. The U.S. Meat Export Federation says that over there in South Korea, says steaks, barbecue cuts, and burgers becoming very much more popular. Speaking of South Korea, the first shipment of 3 million eggs from the U.S. to the country made its way there over the weekend. That's the first batch of fresh eggs to South Korea from the United States ever. Now, South Korea is facing issues of avian influenza right now, causing that egg shortage in that country. Talking some international relations stuff, over 100 U.S. agricultural groups are urging President-elect Donald Trump not to undo those changes with regard to the U.S.-Cuba relations that was been made under President Obama. The groups also want Trump to throw his support behind legislation that would allow private financing for the sale of ag products to make those goods easier to sell there. We'll see what happens down the road with regard to U.S.-Cuba relations. The USDA Weekly Grain Transportation Report tells us that as of week 51 of 2016, total grain barge tonnages in 2016 reached 42.4 million tons. That's a 20% rise from last year's annual total, that of 2015. Also, Iowa Republican Joni Ernst and Nebraska Republican Deb Fischer, they've introduced a resolution for the Senate to vacate that highly controversial Waters of the U.S. rule. Now, it's known as WOTUS. It was expanded to expand the authority of both the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers to regulate water. And talking lawmaking, some new legislation coming out, introduced in the Senate this week. It would enforce the proper labeling of imitation dairy products. Those are things like soy milk, rice, yogurt, almond milk, so on. That announcement applauded by groups like the International Dairy Foods Association, the National Milk Producers Federation. We actually talked to the National Milk Producers a couple weeks ago. That story online at ohioagnet.com. They say it's an interesting time for that, and they don't want milk to get the raw end of the deal and for it to be confused when it comes to people wanting to get a good quality dairy product. And talking about some markets this morning, corn up about 4 points across the board, soybeans higher at 14 and a quarter, 14 or so, and wheat up by about 5 and a quarter points this morning. And a look at your weather today, a little rainy this morning over by my way. It'll become overcast throughout the day and turn into overcast as we go in tomorrow. A high of 61, take us into 41 tomorrow night, and a high of 44 for Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joel Penhorwood, and hope you enjoy these Facebook Live updates. Stay tuned to ohioagnet.com for more news. Bye-bye.